Good afternoon and welcome to the UIL Baseball State Championships. This is the Class 3A State Semifinals. The Robinson Rockets and the Texarkana Pleasant Grove Hawks. Gerald Sanchez along with Jeff Power here for the second of the 3A State Semifinals. The first one had a victory for the Trojans from West Texas, West comma,
yes,
10-3 over Sweeney, and so the winner of this ball game will play the winner of the for West. And Jeff, again, two teams that know each other very well. In fact, they were here last year in the same situation.
Each other in the semifinals last year. Robinson won that game, went on to the state championship game, did lose. But this is a team right here, Pleasant Grove, that's made it to the state tournament 5 consecutive years, but they only have one state championship to show for it. So it remains to be seen if they feel like they can get over the hump this year. They do have the state title in 2010, but they're trying to pick it up again here in 2012. Chad Hollingsworth is the pitcher on the hill today for the Robinson Rockets. He is awesome. If you haven't had a chance to see him pitch yet this year, he's only had like one loss all year, and it was when he threw a no-hitter and lost 1-0. How about that?
It's tough luck.
He's been impressive, no question about it. Pleasant Grove, on the other hand, we got a chance to catch up with their head coach just before this game got started, and here's the interview with Alex Jones. We're here now with Pleasant Grove's head coach, Craig Jones, and first of all, you're in the state semifinals. That's got to sound good, but you don't want to stop here.
No, we're going to take them one at a time, but this is the most important game of the year. I mean, we played 38 games, but this is the biggest one. We're ready for it. We practice hard for it. We prepare for it. So
5 consecutive state tournament appearances. That in itself is a record, but I know you want to go out on top and win it all this year.
Yes, we want to win it. I mean, we won 1 out of 4. We won't make it 2 out of 5, but Robinson's in our way right now, and we got to take care of them first.
Tell me about Robinson, the Rockets, what they bring to the table as far as like not only their pitcher, but the kind of situational hitting that they get out there.
Yeah, everybody knows Hollingsworth. He's throwing up the 90s, and he's only lost 1 game, I think, when he threw a no-hitter and got beat 1-0. So we know all about him. We faced him last year, and most of my guys are back, so that's an advantage too. And we've been here 5 years in a row. A lot of these guys have been here 3 years, so that's a little bit of advantage. But they've been here too, so it's going to be good baseball.
Best of luck, Coach Jones. Appreciate it. All righty. His head coach, Craig Jones, and of course his squad, Pleasant Grove, excited to be here and battling a really good, strong team. Of course, Chad Hollingsworth will be on the hill today for the Robinson Rockets. And you're seeing this man right here on the mound for Robinson. He's done a fine job as well. This is their number 2 guy, Zach Sullivan. He actually pitched in the state championship game a year ago. He's got a 6-1 record with a 1.76 ERA. He might get into the game today as well, so keep an eye out for him. Now, this is a Robinson team that does a lot of situational hitting. They like to put the ball in play. They like to make things happen. We got a chance to talk with their head coach, Brian Kent, though, about that sting of losing last year and trying to bounce back this season.
You know, just told them I'm proud of them and I love them to death. You know, it's going to sting a while. You come this far and you come up short and it hurts. But, you know, it's because they care so much that it hurts. But, you know, you got to give credit to Kennedale. They played the better game today, and you know, they're the state champs.
And, of course, that was Kennedale winning the state title last year. And Brian Kent, he says basically team to learn from that loss, use it as motivation, and come out here and win this game today in the state semifinals against Pleasant Grove, a team they beat last year right here in this same situation in the semifinals. So, Gerald, good matchup on paper and maybe even better on the field.
Pleasant Grove and Robinson. Robinson a record of 29 wins and 2 losses, and they come out of District 19 at 3A, which is a Region 3 school. And Pleasant Grove, the Region 2 representative, 33 wins and 5 losses. They are out of District 15 3A. In that state semifinal game last year, it was Robinson going on. How do you feel that Pleasant Grove, they obviously know what the stake at hand. You got to win, but it's a little bit extra incentive because it's the team that sent them packing last year.
Yeah, that without a doubt is enough motivation in itself. But I think in talking with Craig Jones, I mean, he kind of made it pretty obvious. You know, they may have set a record by getting here 5 consecutive years, but they want to win another state title. I mean, that one they won in 2010 was great, but they want to add to it. It's painful to finish second place. I know that a lot of people would love to be in that position, but to come here and finish second 4 times out of the last 5 years, that's pretty tough too. second or in some cases maybe fourth. But nonetheless, it's an opportunity, though. And Pleasant Grove, they've got a great baseball team this year, 33-5. This is their 6th appearance overall. They were here in 1989 as well as the last now 5 consecutive years. As for Robinson, Brian Kent has got his team out to a 29-2 record. They have been impressive to say the least, have made it to the state title game, to the tournament, I should say, at least in 2000, 2011, and 2012. Even back in 94, they were here. They've had some great teams. The Royal and White, as they are known, at a District 19 3A. They'll be ready to go, and I think Robinson, being the number 1 team in the state, definitely they might feel a little bit of the pressure of being number 1, but they're deservingly the number 1 team.
This is the UIL Baseball State Championships, the Class 3A state semifinals. The Texarkana Pleasant Grove Hawks against the Robinson Rockets, and we'll have the starting lineups in the first pitch right after this from Dish Falk Field in Austin.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets sprang there, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Pleasant Grove and Robinson. These two teams met last year, with Robinson moving on to the state championship game before losing to Kennedale. Pleasant Grove is the visiting team, and let's look at their starting lineup first. Shortstop Melvin Gray will lead it off, followed by the center fielder Luke McGuire. Lucas Waka is the right fielder, hitting third. Justin Buchanan is in the cleanup spot. Trey Hart, first baseman, hitting fifth, followed by the pitcher Timothy Buchanan. He is hitting sixth. Nick Reed, the designated hitter, is hitting for the third baseman Kevin Harris in the seventh spot. Alex Alsop is hitting eighth, playing second base. Rounding out the lineup is the left fielder Kaysen Cordray. Again, top three are Gray, McGuire, and Waka. Middle three, Buchanan, Hart, and Buchanan. And the bottom three, Reed, Alsop, and Cordray.
And defensively for you right now here in the outfield for the Robinson Rockets, Chance Collins is out in left, Zach Law is in center, Jared Mabin is in right field, Zach Sullivan is at third, Hunter Abbey at short, Alex Rogers at second, Jordan Hargis at first, Mikey Billinix in the catching position, and Chad Hollingsworth on the mound. As we mentioned, only one loss this year, and it happened when he threw a no-hitter.
Yeah, challenge Chad Hollingsworth, the right-hander, warming it up. As you see the throw down to second base. He has great velocity, good movement on his pitches that's made him very successful in his career at Robinson.
Yeah, it definitely has. And, of course, with Mikey Bilimich behind the plate, he's going to be catching a man who is going to be coming out here and just firing away. Hollingsworth is a senior, 13-1 record.
The first pitch is hit up the middle by Melvin Gray, and we are underway. One pitch and one base hit.
So a good start here for Pleasant Grove. Melvin Gray leading off with a single right up the middle. You want to get that first hit out of the way, and Pleasant Grove taking care of that right away as Melvin Gray singles up the middle. And he is a threat to steal.
McGuire is the hitter, and the first pitch he sees is outside for a ball. Third baseman Sullivan is coming in a little bit in the event that McGuire might want to push it that way and move the runner Gray up to second base. Swings here, and it's out in front of the plate. It's a foul ball. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
By the way, Melvin Gray, who is at first, batting .400. How many leadoff hitters do you know batting .400?
I bet his on-base percentage is pretty darn good as well. It's close to .500.
Of course, Colby Carpenter was the leadoff batter in the last game for West, and he's had a sensational time at the plate as well this year.
And on the pitch, the runner goes. The hit is into right field, and Mabin has trouble with it, but that doesn't matter because Gray would have been at third base anyway with great speed. First two hitters have opened with base hits, one back up the middle, one up to the right side. And so Hollingsworth has got his work cut out for him to try to hold Pleasant Grove off the scoreboard.
Yeah, this pitch was a bit inside, and Luke McGuire took it out to right, just kind of chopped it out there, and Gray over to hustle over to third base.
Waka is the hitter, and he takes a pitch that misses for a ball. Lucas Waka, a senior, .472 on the season. He's also spent some time on the mound, a record of 4-1. Count of 1 ball and no strikes. Swing and a miss. Waka will be playing on a scholarship next year at Wyoming. And he'll be not for baseball, but for football.
There you go. McGuire's on at first. He has a .370 batting average. Just looking at these averages, we'll go through them in a minute.
Pitches a strike on the outer half of the plate, and the runner, McGuire, goes to second base.
Justin Buchanan, batting .278, is on deck. Timothy Buchanan, also a senior. He's batting .340.
Pleasant Grove opening the top of the first with runners now at second and third on that stolen base by McGuire. Waka hitting in the number 3 spot against Hollingsworth, and the right-hander delivers a pitch that misses outside. Count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That ball real close to catching the corner there, but not quite.
Craig Jones, the third base coach, flashing the signs. Hit to the left side. And Abbey, the shortstop, goes over to the first baseman Hargis. Waka gets the RBI ground out as Gray comes in from third base, making it 1-0 Hawks.
Nice piece of hitting right there from Lucas Waka, driving in the run. Melvin Gray, and to bring up Justin Buchanan.
Buchanan, the catcher, is a twin brother is Timothy Buchanan, and hitting in the 6th spot here. As Justin is a senior hitting .278, like you said earlier, Jeff. He's on deck. This is bunted to the pitcher and safe. The catcher, Bilmovich, thought that he had a tag at the plate. McGuire is called safe. Let's see here.
Justin Buchanan laying down the perfect bunt. And you know, a nice effort right here by the pitcher. But Hollingsworth cannot get the ball home quick enough. That was close. It looked like he may have grazed his jersey, but hard to tell. Happened so quickly. Just a bang-bang play.
Bilmovich, the catcher, with the tag. Be interesting to see if we could slow that down once again if we have that opportunity. 1 out in the inning, and as it stands, the run will score.
Brian Kent talking things over. He went to Southwest Texas State University, now known as Texas State. Here is the play one more time. You can see Hollingsworth doing a nice job with the little shovel pitch, but I mean, the ump's right there. I mean, you got to give the benefit of the doubt. No one's closer than he is. He had the angle, too, the perfect angle to see whether or not that swipe tag got around, and he said no.
Belimovich is going to lose this argument, as well as head coach Brian Kent. Well, he is really making his case, but safe is the call. Look, it's so hard to tell from that angle, but I think Belimovich might have missed the tag. McGuire scores. Buchanan. Trey Hart, the hitter, beg your pardon.
So Pleasant Grove, 2 early runs. But let us remind you, in the previous game, West trailed 3-0 after 1 inning to Sweeney and won the game 10-3.
Now, so right now, 2-0 Pleasant Grove. But like you said, this is a long game. Robinson down early.
Robinson, the '1 team in the state, deservingly so. Chad Hollingsworth, one of the top pitchers in the entire state of Texas, 13-1 record, 0.31 ERA.
Base hit into left field off the bat of Trey Hart. And you have runners at first and second. Buchanan was credited with a fielder's choice on that last play. And an RBI.
So now Justin's brother Timothy steps up, Buchanan. I already like one thing about Pleasant Grove. I love the huge numerals on the jersey.
Casey Rayburn is running for Justin Buchanan at second base. The Hart with a hit. That is 3 hits in the inning. Timothy Buchanan. Left-handed batter takes a ball. One out. Just underway here from Dish Falk Field in Austin. Up the third base line. And a strong throw. Safe is the call. And another run comes home for Pleasant Grove.
Yeah, this is not the way the Robinson Rockets wanted to start the game. They've had some miscues in the field. That was a tough play to make right there. That's the danger when you've got a situation where the runner is pulling in almost at the exact same time as the ball.
It was a swinging bunt up the third baseline. Sullivan, the third baseman, barehanded it, did all he could do. They're going to give an error to Sullivan. It looked like that was a good throw. Hargis, the first baseman, couldn't hold on to it. And Brian Kent, along with the catcher Belimovich and Hollingsworth, all talking on the front of the mound. Buchanan reaches on the E5. No RBI on that play as Rayburn scores from second base. Hart goes to third on that play. And here is Nick Harris. Nick Reed, beg your pardon. Nick Reed is the hitter.
As you can see, Nick Reed has got some great size. Wearing number 19 over there on third base, of course, is Trey Hart. Pleasant Grove up 3-0 already, wanting more with only 1 out. And the fourth run only 90 feet away at third.
Number 7 hitter in the lineup, Reed. The designated hitter is hitting for the third baseman, Kevin Harris. And the pitch. High fly, and it's a foul ball. Kind of looks like, especially wearing jersey number 19, Jeff, with that stature, Reed looks like Tony Gwynn, huh?
Yeah, got the size.
Left-handed batter at that.
And this is a Pleasant Grove team that's had their fair stretches of great pitching this year and already clinging to a 3-0 lead. They had a stretch where they had 8 consecutive games, and they only allowed 1 run in that 8-game stretch.
Two and 1 the count. Down the left field line, and it is a foul ball. At 2-2 for Nick Reed, the DH.
Pleasant Grove shut out their first 3 playoff opponents, Wills Point, Maybank, and then Maybank again, 7-0 and 3-0. Then defeated Prosper, 8-1 and 14-4.
You had mentioned that 8-game stretch. That happened at the end of the season, Jeff, and that is a right time to get your pitching hot.
That is.
Here's the 2-2. Swing and a foul on a breaking ball from the pitcher Hollingsworth. The count is still 2 balls and 2 strikes. That stretch started with Texarkana Liberty Ilu, then beat Paris. Paris only scored a run, but then Atlanta, Paris, North Lamar, and then Queen City. Then the playoffs happened. And so that stretch there with Prosper, and they gave up 4 runs to Prosper. Of course, they run-ruled Prosper, and then Farmersville.
In Farmersville, yeah.
In the regional final. Into left field, driving the left fielder Collins back, tagging, and Hart coming in from third. And the score is now 4-0, Pleasant Grove.
Nice hitting right there by Nick Reed, the sac fly to left. That's what you want. You want to bring in that 4th run. And this is all coming up against Hollingsworth, who has been sensational this year. I mean, the one loss he has, he threw a no-hitter.
Right now, he has given up 3 hits. Of course, the error didn't help either. That is the, believe it or not, that is the first out of the inning, or second out, beg your pardon. A little slow on that scoreboard out there, left center field.
Chad Hollingsworth is a University of Texas commit.
Alex Alsop, right-handed batter, and he hits it onto the right side to the second baseman Rogers. And the inning comes to a close for Pleasant Grove. Before that, they get 4 runs on 3 hits, 1 error, and 2 men left on. After a half inning of play, Pleasant Grove 4, Robinson just now coming into bat. Robinson's starting lineup has Hunter Abbey, the shortstop, leading it off, followed by the second baseman Alex Rogers. Third baseman Zach Sullivan hitting third. Chad Hollingsworth is the pitcher and hitting cleanup. Zach Law.
We're looking at the outfield there. Kason Cordray, Luke McGuire, Lucas Waka out there in the outfield. Kevin Harris at third, Melvin Gray at short, Alex Alsop at second, Trey Hart at first, Justin Buchanan there behind the plate, and Timothy Buchanan, his brother, on the mound.
So Abbey, the shortstop, leading it off.
Just like
Abbey is a senior, beg your pardon, Jeff, 441 on the season. And the left-hander Timothy Buchanan's first pitch is in on the inner half of the plate. No balls and 1 strike.
just as we said about West, who trailed 3-0 after 1 inning in the first game today, in the first semifinal. That's what Robinson's going to have to do today. Put it behind him, forget about that 4 spot, and start playing some ball right now.
It's so hard, though, you know, and coming coming into the state championship game and already down by a score of 4-0, but plenty of baseball to be played, and that's we talk about it so much, Jeff, and we talked about it in the first game about the mental aspect. And just battle at bat, every pitch, and see what happens.
Robinson known as a team with pitching and defense, and they'll scratch the runs across, but this may be a pretty steep mountain to climb down 4-0 early on.
Buchanan's pitch missing outside. Timothy Buchanan, both the Buchanan twins headed to Southern Arkansas. Swing and a miss. Abby is out number 1 in the bottom of the first inning. Robinson's trip here to the state tournament, defeating Diboll in 2 straight, then beating Bullard 2-1 in the regional quarterfinals. Swing and a miss. Alex Rogers, the second baseman. Bridge City, the regional semifinals. That was a 1-game shot. They won that one, and then beating China Spring.
And that was a Bridge City team that had won their 21st district title this year. Of course, we talked about China Spring earlier. They had a 13-inning game, defeating Lufkin Hudson 3-2 in a game that ended at 2:22 in the morning. It started at 10, didn't end until 2:22. Who needs to sleep?
So they started it at 10. That means that rain must have held off first pitch, which was probably scheduled for 7 o'clock.
Correct.
And you had talked about that earlier in the playoffs, that there was rain that reduced 3-game series just to a 1-game.
Yeah, 5 of them involving Region 1.
That was when the rains came. I think that was the 3rd round of the playoffs, I believe.
Yeah, those 1-game series, if you have a really good pitcher, who knows? You can upset a really good team.
2-2. Breaking ball just missed. Buchanan wanted that call. So did his catcher, Justin Buchanan.
Brian Kent has done a fine job with Robinson this year, making their 4th state title appearance.
High pop. Second baseman Alsup battling the sun, and he squeezes it for the second out. 2 up and 2 down here in the bottom of the first.
Craig Jones also doing a fine job this year for Texarkana Pleasant Grove, making their 5th consecutive state tournament. He's out of the University of Arkansas at Monticello. 33-5 this year. We're also here back in 1989, in addition to the 5 consecutive.
Sullivan, third baseman, who committed an error in the top of this inning, swings and misses. (4-0) already. Pleasant Grove in the bottom of the first inning.
Sullivan batting .423. He is 6-1 as a starting pitcher. 1.76 earned run average. We might see him before the day's done on the mound.
One and 2. State semifinals. The winner of this will get West. And that'll be tomorrow evening. 6:30 first pitch right here at Dish Falk Field. We'll have it for you on Fox Sports Southwest.
West was very impressive today. Great opposite field hitting. They put a clinic on how to hit the ball to the opposite field today.
Hit to the left side to the shortstop. Gray gobbles it up, and Sullivan is retired. 1-2-3. Buchanan retiring the Robinson Rockets in order, and at the end of 1, Pleasant Grove leading 4-0. Top of the second inning for Pleasant Grove. They sent 8 men up to the plate in the first. Kason Cordray, left fielder. Chad Hollingsworth. 2 balls, no strikes. Pleasant Grove not really smacking the ball in the power alleys or hitting the ball over the ballpark. They were able to just bunch of singles together, use their speed, go from first to third in that first inning.
Cordray batting .326.
Two balls and 2 strikes.
You know, if you hustle, good things happen, and we've already seen that in the first game today and here in the early going of this one. Sprint hard to first. You never know. Put the pressure on the defense.
Ball was on the outer half of the plate, and that is a swinging strikeout. That's the first strikeout for Chad Hollingsworth. Melvin Gray started the ball game off for the Hawks. Base hit up the middle.
Melvin Gray really crowds the plate when he steps up there. Any kind of advantage he can get heading to first. Look at that, foot on the line, both of them.
Takes a breaking ball that misses. There's no defense for speed, the cliche. The speed never goes into slumps. It is so true, though. Over to the right side, and Hargis will watch this one go foul. The speed happens in every sport, but in baseball, you take that extra 90 feet, put the ball in play, put pressure on the defense, the pitcher and the catcher.
And it speaks volumes for your coaching staff and even the rest of your players on your team to see that if you hustle, you know, good things happen. You put pressure on the defense, and it's a commitment. It's what you owe your teammates. Hustle, you know, simple.
Robinson only with 2 losses all year long. So that one is, you would say, in the dirt, Jeff, but there is actually no dirt at home plate. That is what you see right there. It looks like dirt, but is actually carpet. The only dirt is the pitcher's mound on this field. Down the right field line, Mabin with a hustle play, but that'll be a foul ball.
And what you may notice, like for example, in that play right there, when the ball hits the ground, you see those little pellets fly up. It looks like, you know, could be dirt or
right,
but it's actually little rubber pellets. But what's odd is you see it when it hits the what looks to be dirt, but it's obviously just an extended carpet.
2-2 the count. And the right-hander delivers. Coming in, but then going back is Zach Law. 2 away in the inning.
Yeah, Melvin Gray hit that one pretty hard, but right to Zach Law. And there's an adjustment period that comes with playing here at Disch-Falk Field. You got to get used to the shadows, and in some cases, just this dark background that you see that with the huge overhang.
And I would think that with the hitter McGuire stepping in, without super regionals, both teams would be allowed to practice here, but that was not the case yesterday.
No, not allowed to practice. We stopped by for a minute to see, but no teams out here. Apparently they don't want anyone to get any kind of unfair advantage, because I imagine some of the teams maybe that are further away cannot maybe make the trip in advance, so you don't want to have an unfair advantage.
Yeah, well, no. Usually in the past, there's been a super regional that's been played here where teams couldn't work out, and now this is the only classification. 3A classification is the only classification where there are games being played here. All of the other games are being played up on 35 North, up in Round Rock at Dell Diamond. Up the middle, and the shortstop Abbey with a strong throw. 1-2-3. The Hawks are retired in order after scoring 4 runs on 3 hits in the first inning. We're in the middle of the second, and Pleasant Grove leads by a score of 4-0. 4-0. Texarkana Pleasant Grove making their 5th straight appearance here at the state tournament. They're 6th overall, and they lead by a score of 4-0. Robinson here in the bottom of the 2nd inning will send up the pitcher Chad Hollingsworth. Interesting note, Jeff, that Robinson and West has already played this year. West will play the winner of these two.
Yeah, West won the first matchup against Robinson, and then Robinson beat them later in the year. In fact, Robinson was 16-0 when they lost to West.
Comebacker to the mound, Timothy Buchanan, the underhand toss to Hart, the first baseman. Hollingsworth on the first pitch is out. Zach Law, the center fielder, as Buchanan has pitched well in the first inning and a third. He has retired all 4 hitters and first pitch strike, and that's one of the most important things as a pitcher, to get first pitch strikes.
Yeah, you want to come after the hitters, show that aggression, get ahead of the count.
Into left center field, and that's the game's first hit for Robinson. A big turn by Law, but he will retreat back to first base. No sense in being thrown out at second, especially trailing by 4 runs and it's early in the ballgame. Law is single, that is their first hit, compared to 3 for Pleasant Grove. And Ben Rhodes, the DH, as the pitch was on the inner half of the plate. It was a fastball.
Yeah, Law really roped that ball into left center. Good job by the center fielder getting it to it pretty quickly, Luke McGuire. So Law's on at first, and he is a threat to run, no doubt about it.
Ben Rhodes, the designated hitter, a junior. And he takes a strike in there. Rhodes on the season is a .436 hitter, hitting in the number 6 spot for Brian Kent.
You know, Robinson had 6 starters returned this year. So everyone knew going into this season they had a strong team. Ben Rhodes right here batting .415 with 14 runs batted in. Zach Law is on at first with a .385 average.
Grounded to the first baseman. Hart to second. It's a double play. Because Hart, the first baseman, stepped on the bag, you have to tag the runner Law at second, and they did that. What a play and a good throw by Hart.
Yeah, let's look at that play one more time before we go to break. As you can see, this ball just laced down the line, tags the bag at first. Trey Hart fires over to second. Got to make the tag there as well, and done deal. Nicely done.
At the end of 2, 4-0. Pleasant Grove. Gerald Sanchez along with Jeff Power here on Fox Sports Southwest. Robinson trailing Pleasant Grove. We go to the top of the 3rd inning. And it is Lucas Waka, the right fielder, against Chad Hollingsworth. Waka, his older brother, played on Pleasant Grove and was the 19th pick in the first round by the St. Louis Cardinals. So congratulations to the Waka family.
Always a big moment. Of course, draft day, we talked about this earlier, 48 players in Class 3A headed to the next level, whether it's drafted by a major league club or playing college baseball. So that is a huge number. Shows you what kind of talent is at the 3A level.
Walker grounded out to the shortstop, Abbey, his first time up with an RBI. Hollingsworth delivers. Fastball swung on and missed. Good location, and Waka went after it.
Yeah, Hollingsworth using that speed. He's got some great velocity. He's headed to the University of Texas. He'll now have to face Justin Buchanan.
2 strikeouts for Hollingsworth. That's the first down in the top of the 3rd inning. To the right side, short hop by the first baseman Hargis. Step on the bag for a 3 unassisted. Well, after struggling, he has retired now 6 in a row. Hollingsworth has, after struggling in the first, allowing 4 runs on 3 hits. The error also didn't help anything. Throwing error by the 3rd baseman Sullivan. Hard bounces a foul ball down the 3rd baseline.
And hard to call that an error on the 3rd baseman Sullivan, because the ball looked like it just arrived at the bag about the same time as the runner did, and that's where the confusion set in. Of course, there was the play by Hollingsworth trying to make a hustle play at the plate by grabbing the ball and tossing it home, and that was also at least a debatable possible out. But
yeah, the swipe tag by the catcher Belamovic. Speaking of Belamovic, he frames the corner for his pitcher Hollingsworth. That's a strike called, and it's no balls and 2 strikes. The shadows, as we go along, should be a factor in this ballgame.
Yeah, they usually are, usually in the late innings.
Not there yet. Hargis, back-to-back 3 unassisteds. How about this? Hollingsworth, another 1-2-3 inning. He's retired now 7 in a row, and then retires the sign for Pleasant Grove. Middle of the 3rd, 4-0 in favor of the Hawks over the Rockets. This is the 2nd game here in the 2012 Texas Class 3A State Championships for baseball. The first one went to West over Sweeney 10-3. And the winner of this will play West, Robinson, and Pleasant Grove. And right now, Pleasant Grove leading 4-0. We are in the bottom of the 3rd, and the Rockets will send up their number 7 hitter in the lineup, Jordan Hargis, the first baseman. And he takes a first pitch strike from Timothy Buchanan. Hargis, Collins, and then Belamovic, the catcher. And it's a hit into right center field. Ball's on the carpet, backing up on the play. Hargis will go into second with a double. He hit that one in a good spot to where he could take the extra 90 feet.
Yeah, Hargis taking that outside pitch to right. Talked about the importance of doing that. Not only hit that ball good and solid, as you see, the ball was on the outside part of the plate. Just drove it to right. That's what you do. He winds up at second, and Hargis batting .265 this year. He is a senior. Gets a pretty good lead off second base.
Chance Collins, the left fielder, a junior, hitting .235, takes a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. So Buchanan, who has faced the minimum to this point, given up a hit, but that was a race on the double play. That was a good play by the first baseman, Trey Hart.
Chance Collins, the junior left fielder, batting .235. Chance here to put Robinson on the board.
.2-0. And he offered at it on the bunt attempt, and that's a strike called according to the umpire. Robinson, which is just outside of Waco, and Pleasant Grove, which is in Texarkana. Central and East Texas, regions 2 and 3, the representatives. Showing bunt again, comes up empty. The ball gets away from the catcher Buchanan, but it's a full count at 3-2. A leadoff double by Hargis. Here's the 3-2. Little blooper over the first baseman Hart's head. It's a fair ball. They're going to wave the runner, Hargis, and he will score, but out at second base is Collins trying to take the extra 90 feet.
Well, I think also Collins was trying to maybe assure the fact that he was trying to maybe put a position where they make a play on him at seconds to make sure the run scores. And the run does score on the play, so mission accomplished there as the ball does drop in fair territory there. But a nice job by the right fielder, Lucas Waka, getting it in and making the play at second.
Collins is retired. 9-6 on the out. Bilimovich. One and one the count. Well, instead of having a runner at first and nobody out, you have a count of 1-1 with one out and no one on. But they get on the scoreboard, making it 4-1. But I would thought that Hargis would have scored with no problem because the third base coach and head coach, Brian Kent, was waving him around. There's the 2-1. Fastball swung on and missed. He was waving him, and with no hesitation, I thought Hargis would have scored easily, and I don't know, I think Collins was just trying to be aggressive and go into second base. Trying to take that extra 90 feet, and as did his teammate Hargis, the hitter before. Hit on the right side, and it's the second baseman Alsop throwing to the the pitcher, Hart covering the bag at first, 4-1 on the out.
And maybe that's, part of the overall game plan here. Robinson trying to take every base they can, try to take advantage of certain situations. The way that ball kind of blooped in, I bet he thought that maybe he could get over to second base thinking that ball was going to bounce further out to the right, but it didn't. Went more towards the outfielder, Lucas Waka, who then turned and fired a strike to second on one hop.
Hunter Abbey, the leadoff hitter for Robinson. Well, they got to run back, and so now it is a 4-1 ball game, Pleasant Grove. Into left field. Well, they've hit the ball well in this inning. That's 3 hits in this inning, 4 in the ball game. A solid single into left by Hunter Abbey, and now it brings up Alex Rogers, the second baseman.
Yeah, Alex Rogers, 0 for 1 so far today, but one of the top hitters on this team, batting .341.
Breaking ball swung on and missed. You see the movement on that pitch. Very, very nice from the left-hander Buchanan.
And that is tough to hit when you've got that left-handed pitcher coming in tight, that ball crossing over the plate, coming right at you. Hard to hit. You don't even really want to swing at it. It's a good way to get your fingers jammed, too.
I've noticed, Jeff, that Robinson has made a conscious effort to try to hit the ball on the right side, right-handed batters here against Buchanan. Of course, Buchanan does not going to overpower you. He's going to get that breaking pitch over. So wade back on it and try to put it onto the right side of the infield.
Yeah, as long as Buchanan is nibbling on that outside corner, that's what they're going to try to do.
A bunt up the third base line and foul.
Right idea right there. Just didn't get the bunt laid down.
Yeah, because third baseman Kevin Harris was playing back on it. And with the first baseman Hart holding the runner, Abbey on, you got a big hole on the right side. Snap throw over and going back in head first is the runner Abbey.
Yeah, there is so much that goes into baseball. I mean, you think about all the details. When you've got a runner, you got the first baseman holding the runner at first, you want to try to hit it towards right.
Right there, looked like Buchanan might have had Abbey leaning a little bit. Of course, it's tough to run on a left-hander. If you've played baseball, you know that when that left-hander is looking right at you, it's just a little tough to get a big lead. as the runner Abbey has that lead on Buchanan right here. Swing and a miss, and the catcher Justin Buchanan will throw onto the first baseman Hart to complete the strikeout. 2-3. Rogers is retired, as are the Robinson Rockets. They get a run on 3 hits in the inning, no errors, and a man stranded. At the end of 3 from Dish Falk Field, it's a 3-run lead for Pleasant Grove on Fox Sports Southwest. Four runs, 3 hits, no errors for Pleasant Grove. Robinson with just a run on 4 hits and an error as we go to the top of the 4th. Pleasant Grove will send up their pitcher, Timothy Buchanan. And the first pitch from his mound opponent, Chad Hollingsworth, is a fastball outside. Into left field. That's a great piece of hitting there by Buchanan. Ball was on the outer half of the plate, just hit it, it punched it, and he gets a leadoff single.
You know, this is a Robinson Rocket team that only lost 1 regular season game. So they haven't even been on the trailing side of too many games this year, so it'll be interesting to see how they just kind of bounce back and try to stay within themselves.
Trevor Cobb is going to run courtesy runner. Trevor Cobb, courtesy running for Timothy Buchanan. Remember that a pitcher or a catcher, if they reach base at the high school level, can be substituted for a courtesy runner. It's a swing and a foul by Nick Reed, the designated hitter. So Buchanan a hit into left field, and it's Reed at the plate. So the courtesy runner, Trevor Cobb, again, because of the trying to get several players involved. The off speed and big cut by Reed. No balls and 2 strikes because they want to get several players involved. And it also kind of helps speed up the game. You don't have to wait for a pitcher or a catcher if an inning ends with them on base.
And maybe prevent injuries, too. I mean, I'd almost like to see it at the major league level, at least in the National League where you have a pitcher batting already. Why not?
Might as well say put the DH in the National League, Jeff. No balls and 2 strikes. Oh, boy.
Come on. Do you really want to see a 45-year-old pitcher running the bases? Come on.
The 1-2. On the outer half of the plate. A good off speed from Hollingsworth. And that's the first out in the top of the 4th. The 3rd strikeout for Chad Hollingsworth. That was a good pitch. Brings up Alex Alsop, second baseman. The movement on that pitch had Reed fooled.
That's why he's headed to the University of Texas. You know, and as we talked about earlier, Chad Hollingsworth, I mean, that first inning, there may have been 3 hits, but there wasn't 1 hard hit ball in the first inning, but yet they had 4 runs to show for it.
Well, both teams have 4 hits each. The difference is that Pleasant Grove was able to take advantage of an error as well. And they have a 3-run lead.
You look at the in baseball in general, you hear coaches talk about a lot. Put some crooked numbers up on the board. That will open up a game.
Well, Robinson was able to collect 3 hits in the last half inning, in the bottom of the 3rd. Pleasant Grove had 3 hits too in the first inning. That is going to bloop, and it goes past the right fielder Maben, but not far enough to where Cobb, the runner, can get to third base. But Alsop is credited with a single. But I was saying, though, that Well, Pleasant Grove got 3 hits, 2 in the first, but they were able to manufacture 4 runs out of it. Whereas Robinson, they got 3 hits, but they were only able to get 1 as the bloop hit here.
Yeah, Alsip just getting just enough of it. Jared Mabin trying to make the play. I bet you Mabin's probably wishing he would have dove for that one because it ended up getting by him either way.
High pop. It's Abbey making the play. Cordray retired. 2 outs in the inning and runners at first and second with Melvin Gray, the top of the order for Pleasant Grove. Single in the first and a fly out to center field in the second inning to Law. He's 1 for 2. Hollingsworth, that's in for a called strike.
Hollingsworth had 131 strikeouts. Check that, 135 coming into this one. Super Syntex Player of the Year last season. You were just talking about Hunter Abbey over at short. He's 8-0 with a .3 earned run average himself. A lot of good pitching on this Robinson team.
Shot foul, and it goes into the first base dugout.
Of course, Zach Sullivan over at third base. He's 6-1, 1.76 earned run average. He pitched in that state title game last year for Robinson.
Robinson wants to hold Pleasant Grove off the scoreboard, for obvious reasons. His time is called. And also, they don't want to have to try to come back even further down because about maybe another inning or 2, the shadows will start to come around the home plate area, and that makes it really tough for a hitter to see that ball come out of the sunlight into the shadows.
Exactly.
And so they just make it that much more tougher. This is bounced to the left side. The third baseman, Sullivan, with a strong throw, and good play by the first baseman, Hargis. Hargis has played a good first base over there.
Yeah, and Sullivan right there with a nice throw. You can see that pitcher's arm he has with the putout.
No runs, 2 hits, no errors, 2 men left on. Middle of the 4th, Robinson trailing by 3 to the Pleasant Grove Hawks from Texarkana. Four to 1 Pleasant Grove. Here from Dish Falk Field in Austin. Gerald Sanchez along with Jeff Power. Thanks for joining us. This is the second game of the state semifinals. West won earlier 10-3 over Sweeney. And in case you're joining us late, Sweeney scored the first 3 runs in the first inning. And then West just scored the next 10 runs unanswered to go up and win 10-3 to be playing for their second state championship in their school history. Robinson hitting in the bottom of the 4th, and Zach Sullivan, the third baseman, is going to take a strike from Timothy Buchanan, the left-handed pitcher. Jeff, today is the opening day here of the 2012 UIL baseball state tournament, being played at both locations, here at Dish Falk and then also at Dell Diamond. And already some classifications underway.
Yes, Stamford won 4-0 over Dodge City, and they will take on Fayetteville, who beat Price Carlisle 5-4. In fact, Fayetteville had to score 5 runs in the last 2 innings to get to that 1A title game to face Stamford. And speaking of Stamford, that is the hometown of Charles Cootie, the 1971 Masters winner. Had a chance to meet up with him earlier this year. He runs Diamondback Golf Club out in Abilene. Good guy. Stamford located just outside of Abilene.
Swinging a foul over to the on-deck circle on the third base side.
Stanford's had a lot of success this year. Football team to the state title, baseball team in the state title game. You do see that a lot when you get that slew of athletes that roll through your school. You can put some wins together in multiple sports.
Remember years ago at the 5A level, Duncanville I think they got to the state championship in all their sports. They won 2 out of 3 that one year as 89 or 90 and somewhere in that range.
Yeah, Lake Travis is in that same kind of situation.
And Lake Travis is in the state semifinals. Their baseball team, they football, everybody knows about that.
Yeah, 5 consecutive state championships in football. The volleyball team has won back-to-back state championships. The golf team's won back-to-back state titles. The boys golf team at Lake Travis.
Full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes to leadoff hitter Sullivan. 0 for 1, grounded to the shortstop Gray. That ended the first inning. Number 3 hitter in the lineup for Brian Kent in the Robinson Rockets. And a good at-bat by Sullivan. He was very patient, was able to work it for a walk.
Yeah, they say that a walk sometimes is as good as a hit. I mean, it's just like a single. You get the same kind of result. You're on first base.
Chad Hollingsworth, the pitcher. Time is called, and Craig Jones is going to have a word with his pitcher Buchanan, along with his catcher Buchanan, the Twins. Craig Jones is from University of Arkansas at Monticello. And your visit with him.
Yeah, well, you know, the visit with him, he pretty much he knows that the opportunity to play Robinson is huge, and he had mentioned that it was important to get out on top early and to get that lead on Hollingsworth, and that's exactly what they did today. That was huge to get those 4 runs in the first inning.
And also visiting with him, Jeff, you got the sense that he knows what it takes. I mean, this is not his first rodeo. It's not his second or third. I mean, he's been here plenty of times now. Base hit into right field, and the runner Sullivan is going to stop as the throw comes in from the right fielder Waka. Hollingsworth, a single.
And, you know, Craig Jones also mentioned that, you know, he was excited about being in the state tournament for the 5th consecutive year, but he quickly noted that they'd only won 1 state title in those 5 years, and it was important to kind of get off the hump and win the state championship again like they did back in 2010.
Stephen Mitchell is going to be the courtesy runner at first base for Chad Hollingsworth. Remember the courtesy runner again, that rule that the pitcher or catcher can come out and not have to stay out of the ball game. Here's a bunt. Pitcher Buchanan will field the throw, and he gets his man Law just by a step. You want to talk about close.
Showing some good speed right there, Zach Law. He can really get down that line. Watch this play again. Lays the bunt down. Pitcher thought he had a little more time, and wow, that was close.
You know, we have the benefit of an instant replay. Those umpires, they've got to make a decision in a split second, and a very authoritative call by the first base umpire. But 1-3 on the bunt attempt. As the hitter, Ben Rose, the designated hitter, fouls it, and it goes into the stands. 4-1, Pleasant Grove. However, Robinson here knocking on the door with runners at second and third. Sullivan led off the inning with a walk, and then Hollingsworth got a single into right field, and Mitchell is courtesy running for Hollingsworth. Law almost had a hit himself. You call it a sacrifice bunt, but it looked like he was trying to bunt for a hit. This one is up the middle. Second baseman Alsop goes to first, but it brings home a run for Robinson. Rhodes does his job. He puts the ball in play.
Yeah, that's the key. Put the ball in play, get that run home, cut that lead in half. That's what they did. They get the extra run here. It's 4-2. We're even in the hits category at 5.
Mitchell, the courtesy runner, goes to third. Here's the first baseman, Hargis. He had a double his first time up. That was that hustling double into right center field.
90 feet away. He's got the speed to get home. Robinson needs this run right here with 2 outs.
to the third baseman, Harris. Low throw, but a heck of a scoop at first base by Hart. That saved a run right there. So many times a good first baseman saves an infield several errors throughout the season and saves many runs. Waco Robinson gets a run on a hit, no errors, and one man left on. At the end of 4, it's 4-2, Pleasant Grove. UIL State Championships presented by State Farm, also by Ford. Pleasant Grove, the lead of 4-2. Chad Hollingsworth, since allowing 4 runs in the first, has really settled down. And he's only allowed 2 hits and no runs since that first inning. Going to the 5th now. And the Hawks will send up Luke McGuire, the center fielder. He shows bunt, pulls it back, a good fastball. It pops all the way up here. You can hear it all the way up here from Chad Hollingsworth.
He's got some gas, no question about it. When we talked about this game, you know, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Hollingsworth has looked pretty much lights out since that first inning. And that's always the sign of a really good pitcher, someone who can just kind of go ahead and put that crooked number behind you and move forward. Let your offense do their thing, and you worry about what you can control.
Said so many times that when you have a good quality pitcher on the ropes like a Chad Hollingsworth, you want to knock him out as early as possible because he'll get stronger as the game goes along. And it looks like that Hollingsworth has gotten stronger as the game has progressed.
You can see he's got good size.
This will be his home for the next several years.
Yeah, coming here to play with Augie Garrido in the University of Texas. Longhorns failing to reach a regional bid for the first time in quite some time.
Into center field, and a good play by the center fielder Law as McGuire flies out. Yeah, I off the top of my head, I don't remember the last time that the Longhorns did not make a regional out of the Big 12.
I think it even caught them off guard a little bit.
Lucas Walker, the right fielder, into center field. Law coming on, makes a diving play. Does he hold on? Yes, he does. What a play by Zach Law in center field. Good speed, good instincts. Walker is robbed.
Yeah, good hustle right there. Let's take a look at this play again. Coming on strong, Zach Law, look at this. Stretching out, making the grab right off the shoelaces. Nicely done.
Justin Buchanan, the catcher, takes a strike.
Well, we're talking about how the University of Texas didn't reach the tournament this year. Well, Tommy Harmon, Longhorn baseball assistant for the last 23 years and 8 as the associate head coach, has been fired. The school announced that today, that Harmon's contract will not be renewed. And Coach Augie Garrido said that in a statement that this is all through the statesman.com here locally. Awesome American Statesman.
That does it in the 5th. Buchanan is gone, and middle of the 5th, Robinson. What a play, though, by Walker, off the bat of Walker for the center fielder Law. And we're in the middle of the 5th, a 2-run lead for the Pleasant Grove Hawks on Fox Sports Southwest and foxsportshouston.com. Robinson's going to send up the bottom part of the lineup. As we go to the bottom of the fifth, Timothy Buchanan, the left-hander on the mound, has pitched very well, as has his mound counterpart, Chad Hollingsworth, minus the first inning. Both teams have 5 hits apiece. Robinson had committed an error. That was the throwing error by the third baseman, Sullivan, back in the first inning to allow one of those runs to score. 4-2. Chance Collins got a single his first time up, drives it over the left fielder Cordray's head. It's up against the wall. Leadoff double. Not bad. Out of the number 8 spot, Chance Collins is 2 for 2.
Yeah, Chance Collins with a pair of hits now, and this one, he really got a hold of this one. Sailed it over Kason Cordray's head in left. But just nicely hit. Ball skipping up against the wall. Almost a ground rule double.
Well,
either way, he's on at second.
In the previous at-bat, Collins was thrown out 9-6, trying to stretch a single into a double. Here, he's able to get the double. Didn't have to worry about stretching out anything. That was hit very well. A foul ball by the catcher. And it is a strike. No balls and 1 strike.
Mikey Bilimovich.
Belimovich.
I'm going to call him Mikey from now on.
Belimovich, the catcher, a senior, hitting .254 on the season. He's 0 for 1. He grounded to the second baseman, Alsip, and Buchanan covered the bag at first.
Belimovich now talking with his coach over here at third and going over the game plan. Of course, Brian Kent, the head coach of Robinson.
There's going to be some activity in the bullpen for Pleasant Grove as Roman Brown, a senior, will head down to the bullpen. Belimovich. Collins at second base. Belimovich showing bunt, a count of 0-1. And it is bunted up the third baseline. Beautiful bunt. The only play is for Buchanan to throw to first base. Belimovich retired, but it's a sacrifice. And it puts a runner 90 feet away and less than 2 outs.
Belimovich going in head first at first base, trying to slide in any way possible. Nice hustle.
And sometimes that can be dangerous. Trying to slide in like that. I was always, you know, remember the coach is always telling us you go through the bag. Running. Hunter Abbey, shortstop. And a suicide squeeze maybe, no, but a foul ball. The runner, Collins, was in motion from third base. As Abbey showed bunt and he bumped it foul over on the first base side. Hart tried to make the play. Obviously he could not. As you see there, warming up is Brown, the right-hander. That's a very big run right there for Robinson at third base.
Yeah, we're here in the 5th inning.
And Pleasant Grove now is coming in on the infield because of the bunt attempt. And now they have the runner, Collins, hung up. Catcher Buchanan. He's out. And I think Brian Kent is going to try to say that perhaps there was interference, but no, it's not the case.
Well,
Collins is retired.
That's the last thing you want to have happen in that situation. Chance Collins just leaning off third a little bit too far. And we just talked about how important that run is with only 1 out. And in a situation like that, it's not too difficult to get a run home from third with 1 out. But they won't get the opportunity now.
Brian Kent continues to try to plead his case with a third base umpire.
Still trying to figure out why Chance Collins was taking off his helmet in the middle of the play.
Frustration, perhaps. He felt that maybe he was bumped. And it has stopped the ball game here. Apparently, Brian Kent is not going to be satisfied with the call. Here it is right here. It's Buchanan throwing over to the third baseman, Harris. Harris going back to Buchanan. And Buchanan, the catcher, did the right thing. Tried to.
This is where the interference may have occurred right there, but it's
you
not
can
interference.
you can see that Collins tried to bump the third baseman, Harris.
Well, and then right there at the very end, the catcher, Justin Buchanan there, also colliding with him there for a brief second. So I could see it going either way. In this case, it's an out.
Outside to Abbey. 2 balls and 1 strike. Struck out swinging in the first and got a single in the third. Are we going to have that 70% rule, Jeff? 2-1. 3 balls, 1 strike. The 70% rule, when someone is thrown out or is thrown out trying to take an extra base on the bases, the hitter in the batter's box reaches 70% of the time. Is that what's going to happen here?
I'll get back with you on it.
Strike in there.
He's got an opportunity here. Full count. And your point being that don't get picked off because you're taking yourself out of any kind of rally. And there he is.
Into right field. Making the play is Waka.
Waka.
Nice play in right field. And Abbey is robbed. Well, Buchanan faces the minimum in the 5th. Good speed in right field by Waka.
Look at Waka just track this one down. Full speed ahead. Nice extension. That is a big-time defensive play right there by the Pleasant Grove right fielder.
To the 6th, 4-2, Hawks. How about that play by Lucas Waka? Robbing Hunter Abbey. We go to the 6th. And the first pitch by Trey Hart, the first baseman, is grounded to Hunter Abbey. 1 pitch, 1 down. Chad Hollingsworth has really settled in quite nicely after allowing the 4 runs in the first. He's only allowed 2 hits since then. In fact, he's only allowed 2 base runners since the first inning, and that was both in the 4th as they were stranded at first and second.
Well, and you think about this, as good of a play as that was by Waka to end the last inning, if there isn't a pickoff at third, that's going to be a run right there on a sacrifice. So, I mean, you know, that's how baseball is, man. You pay for every mistake you make.
1-1 the count. Yeah, it was a base running mistake by the runner Collins. 1-1. And the pitcher, Timothy Buchanan, takes another ball. And you can hear on our crowd microphone, I don't know if you can, I certainly can, the would-be home plate umpires for Robinson not liking a couple of those calls. Abbey, another ground ball, and Hargis is able to stay on the bag.
A nice play over there at first by Hargis. Not so easy to keep that foot on the bag sometimes, and that's why first basemen usually have a little bit longer spikes on the front of their toes.
Here's Nick Reed. Today, Reed, a sac fly RBI in the first and struck out looking in the fourth. Hollingsworth has had the first pitch strikes working for him today. Hollingsworth, so far, 4 strikeouts in the 5 2/3, no walks. A great fastball in the inner half of the plate. It's no balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah,
Chad Hollingsworth is in a rhythm right now.
He is.
And the pitch to Reed, swung on and fouled as it dribbles up the first base line.
At this point of the game, you got to wonder if, Pleasant Grove's 4 runs in the first is going to be enough to hold up in this one. Up 4-2 right now. Robinson been kind of pecking away at that lead, but they've only got 2 more shots after this.
The 0-2. Hargis. Great job by Hollingsworth once again. 3 ground ball outs. And to the bottom of the 6th we go. Robinson needs to get a couple of runs. They have 6 defensive outs in which to work with, as the Pleasant Grove Hawks lead 4-2. Gerald Sanchez along with Jeff Power here from Dish Falk Field. The Class 3A state semifinals with Robinson and Pleasant Grove. It's Pleasant Grove up by 2. The Robinson Rockets. Alex Rogers, second baseman. Count of 1-0. Timothy Buchanan, the left-hander, in his 6th inning of work. He has pitched well himself. Speaking of, we've been raving about Chad Hollingsworth. Buchanan has been that much better, allowing only 2 runs, single runs in the 3rd and in the 4th innings to Robinson. He's scattered to 6 hits. Robinson actually has 1 more hit than Pleasant Grove. The 1-1 on the way. And Rogers, who is 0 for 2, has a count of 2 balls and 1 strike. 2 walks along with 2 strikeouts for Timothy Buchanan. 2-1 from the left-hander. Gray at short. 1 away.
We were talking earlier about the fact that Austin Aune had got picked up by the New York Yankees. I was checking out here where the Texas Rangers selected 24 college players and made 19 high school picks. So if you think about it, when you watch these baseball games out here, you're looking at players who are getting selected by major league clubs and within a couple years could be playing at the major league level, depending on, if you're a pitcher or what have you.
Sullivan into left field. Good job by Cordray to make sure that ball didn't get to the wall. Single by Zach Sullivan. A 1-out single. That's the 7th hit for Robinson.
Yeah, Cordray really ran that ball down in the outfield as we watch. This ball was swung on, and it was laced to left. Cordray had a great jump on it, flagged it down right there, and got that ball back in, and most importantly, holding the runner on at first with 1 out.
Well, the shadows are going to start to become a problem now as the game progresses. As Hollingsworth hit it right back to the mound, and Buchanan goes to the shortstop, covering second, on to first. It's a 1-6-3 double play. Hollingsworth bounces out. Buchanan faces the minimum. And Pleasant Grove gets out of the bottom of the 6th.
And that's why Cordray's play right there was so big. It kept the double play in order.
4-2. Hawks. a 2-run lead for Pleasant Grove. Jeff, you had talked about it earlier in our broadcast about how everything in baseball is magnified. The little things all come out. Well, you had just mentioned there that play in left field by Cordray, making sure that Sullivan didn't get to second base, kept the double play alive. And also, when that double play happened, well, Buchanan, the pitcher for Pleasant Grove, his pitch count, keep it down a little bit even more. Doesn't have to throw as many pitches to where he can still have as many bullets as he wants in the 7th inning. As this one is bounced to the right side off the bat of Alex also.
And who knows how much that could be a factor maybe even tomorrow. I mean, he could be available in a situation where he doesn't have to throw an extra 20 pitches or something in this inning.
We're going to have a pinch hitter for Kaysen Cordray. This is Marshall McPherson, the sophomore. McPherson is hitting. McPherson, 214 on the season. The Hawks with an abundance of pitching. McPherson out of the bullpen this year, 4-1. A record of 33 wins and 5 losses for Pleasant Grove. So McPherson hitting with 1 out and no one on in the 7th inning.
Pleasant Grove has played a great game today. They have played well defensively. They've made timely hits, all pretty much in that 1st inning, and they've made it stick.
Hollingsworth pulls the string on that one. It's even at 1-1.
You know, Robinson's the #1 team in the state, deservingly so. They've got a great team, but Pleasant Grove is beating them at their own game. Defense, pitching, timely hitting.
Yeah, timely hitting. The Rockets have out-hit the Hawks by 2, 7-5, but they trail in the score by 2. One out and no one on. Gray on deck. Pinch hitter making the play. Abbey, the shortstop, the throw to first, not in time. The pinch hitter, McPherson, comes off the bench and gets an infield single. That's a 6th hit for Pleasant Grove.
Abbey with a nice job there of putting that ball in his glove, but too much to ask to have to get up and fire to first and produce the out on top of that. But look at the extension right here. He was playing in. I mean, that's why he had to dive for that. Then he had kind of the double clutch, trying to get that ball out of his glove, and that was the difference.
Cordray will come back in the ballgame for McPherson, so he's at first base. Cordray is running at first. Melvin Gray, the shortstop.
Seemed like a long time ago when Melvin Gray had that leadoff single, but he got it started.
Sullivan goes to second for 1, on to first, and that is not in time. Was Hargis even on the bag when he received that throw?
Phantom.
Gray bounces to a fielder's choice. Cordray is out. Well, we'll get to see here.
That's the one that was more important, his second. Yeah, Hargis didn't have his foot on the bag at first, but the runner had already passed. Melvin Gray with that great speed.
Luke McGuire, 0-1 the count. Hollingsworth in his 7th inning throws over to the first baseman Hargis. Gray.
I mean, you think about that 1st inning again and the difference. I mean, not a ball beyond a single. It was single, RBI on a ground ball to short, fielder's choice, single, E5, sac fly. There's your 4 runs.
Yeah, not an extra base hit. In fact, Pleasant Grove does not have an extra base hit in this ballgame, and they lead 4-2. All 4 runs so far have held up. Pitch out. And he's safe. Gray, well, we talked about that speed, stolen base, putting pressure on the defense.
And it's frustrating as a coach when you make the right call there with a pitch out. You've got to have a good throw by your catcher. If that's a strike down to second, that's an out. But Belovich cannot come up with a good throw. It's too high, forcing his man to come up off the bag and make a leaping catch, and therefore taking him out of any opportunity to make the tag. I mean, it's a game of inches, isn't it? I mean,
no, it's what you talked about everything has to be in order and sequence. Everything affects something else. Well, the pitch out, I mean, that he guessed right. Bad throw to second, and he's safe at second. Of course, give credit to Gray. That speed had something to do with that, too. To the shortstop, and they're going to say Abbey held on to the ball before it hit the ground. And McGuire lines out. So, to the bottom of the 7th, Robinson will send up Law, Rhodes, and Hargis to try to come up with 2 runs to extend their season. The Hawks lead by 2. Timothy Buchanan is out for his 7th inning of work, just as his mound counterpart, Chad Hollingsworth, was. In his 7th inning of work, and the Pleasant Grove Hawks 3 defensive outs away from playing in a state championship game, which would be tomorrow night, 6:30 Central Time. We'll have that for you here on FoxSportsSouthwest.com. Robinson with Zach Law, the center fielder, leading it off against Timothy Buchanan, the left-hander, and the pitch is a ball.
Zach Law has got incredible speed. Very important to get him on base. He can make things happen. I'd look for him to kind of try to work a walk if possible.
The Rockets want to try to send the tying run to the plate, but first things first, they got to get somebody on. Gray, and it's not held on by the first baseman, Hart.
Speed kills, doesn't it? I mean, you could just tell by the way that ball was hit that he was going to find a way to get on board, and doing just that is Zach Law.
I'll give credit to Melvin Gray making that play as close as possible. And the first baseman, Hart, I think Hart held onto the ball. That might have been an out.
Yeah, it skipped in. Hart was stretched out about as far as he could be, and that ball still bounced about maybe a half a foot in front of his glove. He said, we're going to have a pitching change now.
Hart is the first baseman. He's coming back to the dugout. The new pitcher is, I believe it is a Roman Brown.
Yeah, wearing number 11 here. Roman Brown comes into the game, and this is a key part of the game. You want one of your better pitchers in there. He's a senior. He's been through it. He's got a 10-1 record. Roman Brown with a bit of a sidearm type of pitch here. Not quite Kenta Colby, but pretty close. Show my age a little bit there with the Kenta Colby.
Buchanan goes to first base, and Trey Hart
goes over to third, I believe.
Yep, Trey Hart does go to third base. So here we go. Kevin Harris is out of the ballgame. Trey Hart is playing at third. Timothy Buchanan, the pitcher, goes to first base, and the new pitcher is Roman Brown.
And there we go. Once again, I mean, it's because of the speed Law gets on base because of his speed, not because he hit the ball well.
Right.
So he's on first, and what does that do? Now we have a new pitcher. Everything changes. I mean, because Law is going to probably take second base here, whether it's a stolen base or, moving him over. But he's not the important run here. It's that next run that you worry about.
Well, Brown, the senior, trying to close things out here for Pleasant Grove and to play tomorrow night against the West Trojans. It is outside to Ben Rhodes, the DH. Rhodes hit into a double play in the second inning and then grounded to Alsip in the fourth with an RBI. That was the second run to score for Robinson. 2 balls and no strikes. Buchanan for Pleasant Grove, 6 innings, 8 hits, 2 runs, both of them earned. Outside, ball 3. 1 walk with 2 strikeouts. However, the book is not officially closed on him because the runner at first, Law, is his responsibility.
It's always a risk to bring in a relief pitch in this situation. You just never know if they're going to be on or not.
4 straight, missed the strike zone. Rhodes goes to first. Law is at second. Now the winning run is at the plate for the Robinson Rockets.
So Roman Brown with a walk on 4 pitches. Timothy Buchanan only walked 1 batter all day. So that's got to be painful for him to be sitting over at first and watching that.
Stephen Mitchell is going to come on to pinch run for Ben Rhodes. Mitchell appeared earlier and was a courtesy runner back in the 4th inning for the pitcher Chad Hollingsworth. So that is Mitchell at first base, Law at second. Now, he is not a courtesy runner, he is actually a pinch runner now. Jordan Hargis, the hitter.
Kind of a wheel play going on here for Pleasant Grove.
They're expecting bunt.
And for those of you who aren't familiar, the courtesy runners take over for the catcher and the pitcher. And then a regular pinch runner would be for someone else and any other position type player.
Right now, Roman Brown is having difficulty trying to find the strike zone. He has missed 5 straight. That's in for a strike.
Good off-speed pitch there. You got to admire someone who's had trouble finding the plate. Stick with the off-speed pitch. I mean, 5 consecutive balls, I would have thought for sure we would have seen a fastball in that situation, but no, off-speed.
Shows bunt, and it's a foul ball at the third baseline.
Jordan Hargis had the right idea there. Look at him on first, just sitting there thinking, wow, I had him right where I wanted him.
Well, he has 2 strikes now.
And that ball just barely rolled foul.
If it didn't roll foul, you'd have the bases loaded with nobody out.
Tying run at second on top of that, in scoring position. Instead, runners on first and second with no one out.
Hargis 1 for 2, had a double and a run scored in the 3rd inning. 2-2. Brown tried to go on the outer half of the plate. But right now, the shadows are not a problem because the clouds have blocked the sun to this point.
And I'm sure Robinson fans are thinking it's about time we catch a break.
Because when this inning started, the shadows were right around the home plate area, and it's so difficult to hit a pitch coming from sunlight into shadows. 2-2 the count.
Hargis had a double in the 3rd. He'd love to put one in the gap now.
The throw, and not in time. And it goes back to thinking about, remember that great play that Abbey was out on, that Waka made a play. Well, Collins was thrown out trying to get something going from home, or from third to home. That would have been a sacrifice fly. That would have been a 1-run game. Still, it's a 2-run game for Pleasant Grove. Bunted right in front of the plate, and everybody's going to be safe. Buchanan, the catcher, and Roman Brown, the pitcher, had a little bit of miscommunication, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean,
Looked like neither one had wanted. Everybody else was going to take that ball.
fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. That's what I think of right there.
The hesitation here by Buchanan. He thought that Brown was going to get it. Well, Brown thought that the catcher Buchanan was going to get it. And as a result, the bases are loaded. That is a bunt single. There's nobody out. The tying run is in scoring position. Law is at third. Mitchell is at second with great speed. And the number 8 hitter, Chance Collins. Collins, a chance to redeem himself for that base running mistake that he had in the 5th inning.
Good point, good point.
1 ball and no strikes. Collins is 2 for 2. Right now, Brown needs to take a deep breath, gather his thoughts. The 2-0. Fastball in for a strike.
That was a good fastball right there. Got to find a way to keep that ball in the strike zone. He's got some good heat. There it is.
At the knees.
That's what you're looking for. You want your relief pitcher to come in and throw strikes. You don't want him coming in and walking batters.
The Robinson fans are all on their feet. On the first base side. They're cheering their team right next to the first base dugout, thinking that this could be a great opportunity, and it is. Bases loaded, nobody out. They have trailed all ball game long. Even before they even had a first at bat, they were down 4-0. To the mound, Brown's going to go home for 1. Buchanan, double play.
That's huge. I was just looking at a sign over here by the Robinson fans that says, yes, we can. But I tell you, with that double play right there by Pleasant Grove, wow, that was clutch.
1, 2, 3 on the double play right there. Good job by Brown not to panic. He just made the play, and then a good throw. A little bit low, but Buchanan to Buchanan. Twin brothers on the same page right there. Justin Buchanan on to Timothy Buchanan. Buchanan, the starting pitcher for the ball game, now at first base.
Yeah, Justin Buchanan, the catcher, with a strike to first. That was huge.
Justin Harvey, a sophomore, no batting average on the season. The last hope for the Robinson Rockets. He is pinch hitting for Belimovich, the catcher. But here's Harvey. Belimovich was 0 for 1 and a sac bunt in the 5th inning. Second and third, no balls, 1 strike. Breaking ball, just missed. 1-1. So the Rockets have 1 out to play with.
Justin Harvey is a sophomore. He's a pitcher and a first baseman. As you said, no average, 1-0 on his pitching record, but he's a sophomore. Here's his chance.
Law and Mitchell on the bases.
Think about this situation for Justin Harvey. I mean, he's up here with an opportunity with 2 men in scoring position. He can tie this game up with a hit.
Beg your pardon, that's actually Mitchell at third and Hargis at second. 2 away in the inning, 2-1 to Harvey. And it is a chopper in front of the mound. The catcher, Buchanan, throws to first, and that is the ball game. The Hawks will play for a state championship tomorrow night against the West Trojans.
Tough break there for Harvey in an attempt to really sprint all out to first. He loses his footing and falls down. Tough way to end it for the Robinson Rockets. They had their chances in this game and just could not find a way to get it done.
They leave 4 men on base. Both teams left 4 men on base. A very evenly played game. Just the difference ended up being the 4 runs in the first as that play. And the runner, Harvey, just lost his footing. The final here, Pleasant Grove 4, Robinson 2. We're going to come back and wrap it up right after this here on Fox Sports Southwest. The final score here in the second game of the Class 3A state semifinals has Pleasant Grove winning by 4-2 over the Robinson Rockets. Gerald Sanchez back here with Jeff Power, wrapping up our coverage here today as we saw two teams win and do the little things necessary, especially the Pleasant Grove Hawks.
I tell you what a game. I mean, Pleasant Grove scores 4 runs in the first inning. They don't have any extra base hits. They find a way to make it stand up. And right there at the very end, in the bottom of the 7th inning, Robinson had a chance to have the bases loaded with nobody out. I mean, it is a game of inches. There's no question about it, and it just wasn't meant to be for the Rockets, who fall to Pleasant Grove. And, you know, the Hawks, they avenged that loss they had last year to this very same Robinson team, and now they will play for a state championship tomorrow against West. That's going to be a good matchup.
The starting pitchers both pitched excellent. Chance Hollingsworth for Robinson and for Timothy Buchanan for Pleasant Grove. They both were throwing strikes. They were around the plate. And it's just that unfortunate 4-run, 3-hit inning in that first inning for Pleasant Grove. If you're a Robinson Rocket fan, you came so close, and that's just baseball.
It is baseball. I mean, Hollingsworth pitched great today. You take away the first inning, and as you'd mentioned, the 3 hits were all like, singles. Take away that inning, and Hollingsworth is lights out from that point on. But they find a way, Pleasant Grove, to make that 4-run stand up. And really, the Buchanan brothers, the twins, had a great game for Pleasant Grove, both of them making key plays, getting the kind of performance they needed, not only behind the plate with Justin, but the pitching performance on top of that. It was just one of those kind of games where the Hawks just made the plays that they needed to make. And no doubt, it is a game of inches, and Pleasant Grove comes out on top.
And there were several great defensive plays, but on both sides, too. But there were the mistakes that Robinson made, the base running mistake there in the 5th inning. That cost him a run, and there were some other plays there as well that Pleasant Grove made defensively that really were able to help them win this game here 4-2. West won earlier today as they defeated the ball club that everybody thought that might have had a chance to win this whole thing, Sweeney. And so now it was 10-3 the final. So now it is West against Pleasant Grove for the state championship, and we'll have that for you tomorrow at 6:30 Central, 6:30 in the evening here from Dish Falk Field. For Jeff Power, I'm Gerald Sanchez, wishing you a very pleasant good evening here from Austin. The final score in the second game in the 3A semifinal, the Pleasant Grove Hawks 4 and the Robinson Rockets 2.